Hi, this is Eric Elder, and I'm with some good friends of mine and a special family, a stage family, for our upcoming production next weekend of His Name Was Nicholas. And I have with me Nicholas's family, his mother and father, a young Nicholas, a grown Nicholas, and then the orchestrator for all our music for the show, too. I just wanted you to hear their heart and hear some of their thoughts about the show because they didn't have to do this. They have lots on their plate, each of them, and they said yes to a really big commitment. I just love them so much, and I want to introduce you to them if you don't know them. Let's start with you, Brendan. This is Brendan Dimmig, and he plays our Nicholas throughout most of the show. We also have a younger Nick, played by Ezry Green. But Brendan, I came to a prayer meeting in Streeter, and I had asked for prayer for the show and for auditions, and you said a beautiful prayer for God to just bring forth the talent because you knew there was talent here, and you wanted God to bring those to the surface so they could be part of the show. Did you have any idea prior to that you were going to actually be in the show and take the lead role?
No. I
It's funny how God answers our prayers sometimes. You know, we're praying for things and then God says, it's you.
yes, in that moment, I was most certainly praying for a great breakthrough for the talent of Streeter, because even though we're a small community, I know we've got powerhouses here who are in the community and who are doing different great things for the community. But yes, I prayed that prayer, and I was so passionate about wanting to just build up the people locally in Streeter and Ottawa, Grand Ridge, who I know are looking for something like this to be a part of, especially in the churches. Sometimes we don't always get to see the full extent of the artistic talent that we have in our congregations. So that was really what I was praying for, to bring forth, the color and the emotion into this play. Getting to when you actually called me, I was pretty anxious. I was like, oh man, he's calling me. I know this is his call. And throughout that conversation, I was like, okay, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. And then you offered me like two roles. I think it was you could be Dimitri, and then you said, or you could be Nicholas. And I said, I was literally lost for words. I was like stammering to myself, and I was like, yes. That's the first word I could say. I was like, yes, 100% yes, because I'd come to that point where I was ready to do anything and go anywhere that he wanted me to go.
That's so super. And I'm so glad you said yes, and God really moved on your heart to make that prayer, but then also to say yes when you were the answer to that prayer. And there's a lot of answers to that prayer. Just the talent in this show is really wonderful. There really are powerhouses throughout the stage, and it's so fun. I love every single character. You know, I love every role. Yes.
I mean, it's uncanny. Look at Nicholas Senior, and then Nicholas Junior, and then Nicholas Junior Junior. I mean, look at the resemblance. It's made to be, meant to be.
They're all one happy family. It's great. Thanks. Ezry Green, let's come to you. You're young Nicholas before he grows up into our older Nicholas. I just love your cheerful smile all the time, except when you're supposed to cry, which you do brilliantly. What do you like about playing Nicholas?
I just like hanging out with the cast and the crew. I'm happy I joined, because then I wouldn't have had the experiences that I've been able to have, and like being able to meet new people and like learn lines and all of that stuff, because I've never had anything like this big or any of that. So I've made some memories over like hanging out with the other kids that are in the play throughout scenes that aren't in and stuff, and just going on fun adventures. So my favorite part about it would have to be like hanging out with the cast and all of that, and the cast and crew, and just being a part of it.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, we've got about 60 in the cast, and all ages down to, less than 1 year old up to 70 and beyond. So It's a great family show, family affair, and then we've got about 40 people working backstage behind the scenes, doing music, doing ushering and tickets and everything. So over 100 people involved, and it has become really like a family. Denny Rocky plays young Nick's father. How did you sort of come to say yes to being part of this too? Because I sort of asked you last minute, and I've seen you worship over the years, and I just love your voice. I love your heart for the Lord. Yeah, how did you come to just decide, yeah, I want to do this?
When you called and I had talked to you and just, through more conversation with you and just seeing your passion for and belief in what you're doing with this musical, I think that was kind of infectious to me. And with some hesitation because of my own inabilities to memorize lines. And I mean, I love to sing and I love to do worship, but memorizing lines, wasn't always a great strong suit for me. I was usually hey, I need to study for this test about 10 minutes before I take it so that I remember what I'm supposed to know. So yeah, there was some fear there in jumping into something new. But I'm glad I did. Like I said, I probably had moments of panic as I am now, still being a week out. But some of that's good because it stretches me and helps me grow. And but since joining and being able to just like Ezry said, just meet new people that are because none of us do this as a profession or as a regular even thing. A good chunk of us haven't really ever done anything like this, so it's been a learning experience and challenging in good ways too. With learning lines and then just having the little victories as you go along, as you do learn lines and things like that. But mostly, for me, it's I've been able to find out since I've agreed to do this, just the storyline and the passion that it was written with, and how it's like that way of a lot of things in my life that I'm maybe hesitant to first plug into because of my own insecurities or something maybe. But once you're in it, you really start to learn more about yourself and about others and just like, hey, this is where God's called you to be in this moment because it's needed, it's necessary. And I believe this musical is definitely needed for such a time as this.
Thanks. It's wonderful to hear. And I share your insecurities and fears, and it's funny because I've seen you lead worship for years on stage. You're on stage, you talk, you speak, you sing, you have all that, but this is a different animal somehow.
It's a whole different, it is. It's a different dynamic for sure.
And like for me, I play the piano for years, since I was a little kid, but I rarely play in public. I rarely play on stage. It was really Chuck who's there in one corner of your screen, who is our orchestrator, and we were talking about the band. And what we would need in terms of a band, and he said, I think I see 2 keyboards and a guitar and a bass and a flute, and I can see this. And he said, I think you should play one of the keyboards. You should play a piano. And God had been prompting me over the weekend that I should do that, and I had this panic too. I'm like, oh, this is not comfortable. Lynette, let's go to you. This is Lynette Giacinto, and sitting next to her is her husband Chuck Giacinto. Lynette plays young Nick's mom and does a fantastic job. She's always had a pleasant spirit, a sweet smile, and a beautiful voice. And Lynette, you had mentioned one time how relevant this story was, even though it's 1,700 years later, even to our society today, to our time today. I wonder if you could expand on that just a little bit for me.
Hello. Yeah, without giving any spoilers away. When we did the first read aloud with the whole cast, and we all came into a room to read the whole script, from start to finish. And there are some really poignant moments that you're right, Eric, that are relevant today. And I guess I was surprised by that, and it really brought tears to not just my eyes, but a lot of people's eyes sitting there reading through this, because we need a lot of hope today. We need God's strength for today to get through, sometimes one day at a time. Okay, we all have issues in our lives, and we have what's going on in the world, and we have failures and trust issues and relationship issues and stuff, and the weight of the world and what's going on. And So when reading through the scripts for the first time, it brought a lot of joy, because by the end, you see, without spoilers, you see all of this life of Nicholas's come full circle, and it has a presence, an important presence for today, for those that are going to watch it sitting in the audience, for those that are going to watch it online. You're gonna grasp a lot, and you're going to find the hope of Christ for this time of year and for such a time as this. And it's going to minister to you. So it's wonderful timing. There are some really poignant lines that you've written, Eric, and your wife Lana, throughout the story. Just poignant lines that are just nuggets of inspiration, nuggets of hope that just kind of stay with me. A line of Denny's in particular, when he's acting, it's like, you got to get that line right, because it's so wonderfully, and it has such a message to it for today. So you're going to be not just sitting in the audience and learning about Saint Nicholas and his life. You're going to be able to grasp hope for yourself, hope for your family and your loved ones, and that's the message that I know that's going to get across to those that are going to come and see it. And I'm excited about that.
Thanks, Lynette. I love that, and that is my heart too. Is just really to reach people in our generation, to people today, right now, to give them hope. And so I'm glad that that's coming through this stellar example of Nicholas's life. That he had a lot of things that he faced and struggles that he faced, but he also gave a lot of joy to a lot of people throughout. So let's go to your husband, Chuck Giacinto, who will also be on the stage, but he will be playing guitar. But he has also orchestrated some tracks to go along with us, to give it a full, rich, full orchestra sound, adding to what we're doing on the stage. And he's spent the last few months orchestrating 25 of my songs, which I can't thank you enough for putting that together and going through that and finishing them up just this weekend and ready for the show. And that's just a huge undertaking. Also, you were one of the firmest believers in this even a year and a half ago, when I proposed the idea and started talking to you and Lynette about maybe would you want to do it here in Streeter, and you have a new auditorium, and we talked through it, and then COVID hit, and but through it all, you have stuck with me, you've walked with me, you've seen the ups and downs, you've been one of my strongest supporters and encouragers through this. Can I just ask, why? Why do you believe in this production so much? What is it about this particular project, the way it's constructed or whatever, that you want to be involved and you want to see it succeed?
Well, I mean, this goes back. We've known you for over 20 years. So it begins with how well we've known you and who you are, and knowing you wrote this. We did talk. I mean, pre-COVID, we talked with you about this, and you came to us. So this goes back quite a while, as far as the whole picture being put into place. But I've had a unique vantage point with this early on as a pastor, because I've been at the ministerial associations, which a lot of people don't realize. You've come to those meetings, and we have a good number of the pastors in the community together in a room, and we all came to agreement on this, that this was good, that it was needed, and that it's more than a musical, that this is a spiritual thing, and that God was going to do something in this city. And so it isn't just that one day everybody heard you're having auditions for a play. Our local pastors together have been in agreement on this and been involved. And that's part of where the picture builds too, because that tells us, this isn't just a performance or anything like that alone. This is something bigger, that God's going to do something in the community. And as a pastor, with all of our local churches, this is a time of year we all have things for the holidays going on at our churches. And for those that happen to come into our doors, we have special songs and programs and things going on. But this is different. This is all of us working together, all of us in unity, all of us in agreement, doing something in a place we can all be in one room together. And that's pretty powerful. That doesn't happen very often, where we even, not for any wrong reasons, it's just the opportunity doesn't exist that often. So this is unique from that standpoint. And I think that that's part of what's great. And maybe a lot don't even know that the pastors of the community have been together on this for many, many months. And so that means that there's a covering here, and there's a unity that we believe that this is more than a musical, that spiritual as well, and God's going to do something powerful in a lot of lives.
Thanks for
And so
explaining.
so I had to pour myself into it any way I could, because it's hard to just agree with it from the background if we have a way to be involved.
Thanks so much for giving that backstory, because a lot of people don't know that at all. They've only seen the public brochures or pamphlets or cards or whatever announcing the show. But there's been a backstory for a couple years, really, and it's wonderful. And thank you, just for your church's support and other churches in town who have all supported it financially and with people and with time and just a lot of energy. It takes a lot to pull off a production like this, especially in a community venue. We're doing it at a neutral local high school auditorium that's beautifully renovated and a gorgeous facility. But yeah, it's really coming together in a common ground for a common good, and really to see that many would see, many would hear, many would put their faith in the Lord. That's been my prayer for months and months and months, that people would see this and they would just have a deeper faith in God because of it. So thank you for that. I would like to sing for just a minute. I'm not actually going to sing, but I do sing in the show. I have a surprise number in the show that I'm going to do. But I'd like to hear and let you hear Denny and Ezry sing a song that they do at the opening of the show. It's called Who's It Going to Be Today? I'm just going to have them sing just a few lines of it. I'll give them a chord to start. They can do it a cappella, but I just want to hear you to hear their sweet voices soon. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. Who's it going to be today, Father? Who's it going to be today? Who's it going to be today, Father? Who's it going to be today?
We won't know till we know, but we'll know when he shows us. Even though we don't know, we will go and he'll show us.
Wonderful. It's a cute little song at the beginning where they're going around town trying to say, God, who do you want us to bless today in a special way? And God shows them, God guides them. And anyway, thanks for that. Lynette, would you give us just a little bit of your song, which comes up next, about healing, and healing comes from heaven. Here's just a chord to get you started.
Healing comes from heaven, of that you can be sure. Whether blood that slows while bleeding, or the bones that mend and grow.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Just lovely, lovely. And it's a very touching song, too. And it comes up a couple times in the show, as a wonderful both teaching moments and poignant moments where we're just calling out to God for healing from heaven. Brendan, I'm not going to ask you to sing because I'm going to let people hear you when they come to see you live. And your opening number is a whiz-bang kicker, boy, for you to learn it. And
It sure was. It sure has been.
I wrote that song, and I couldn't record it all in one take. When I tried to sing it, I said, Brendan, I don't know if this song is even singable. It's got so many words, and it's so rich and so much going on in it. But if you want to try it, if we need to change it, let me know. But he came back practice after practice, and he got it, and the whole cast cheered. And now it seems like second nature to him to just be able to whip this song out. And I know it's not. I know it takes energy every time, but you're going to love it. And I hope you come see the show and get to hear his voice in person and pulling off his opening number. And he sings a number of numbers, eight or more throughout the show, that you're just going to love his voice and love hearing him sing. I'm so glad that he's said yes to being our Nicholas. Final thoughts from any of you that you might like to share, just to encourage people to come. We're trying to just say, our doors are open. We'd love to have you come. Maybe you're indecisive. You're not sure. You've heard about it. You're thinking, yeah, maybe, maybe not. Maybe I should bring my family, maybe not. You can watch online from anywhere in the world, or you can come in person. Lynette, anything that you'd like to say to people?
I would say, to me, this is, like Chuck said, this is a lot of community members, people from out of Streeter Land area, but most of us are from Streeter area. And like Ezry said, I'm excited because I'm getting to know people too. People living here in Streeter my whole life, people I should know, but I didn't know by name. So I'm excited to meet people. But my idea to share with everyone is that, to me, this is a gift to the community. This is a gift to the community, this whole production. We're excited to be able to bring this to life for Eric and his beautiful wife, Lana, and their family, all the years that he's worked on this story and then written and worked on this musical, and the vision that he has for the future of Nicholas' story. So it's a gift for the community. Here it is. We're excited to give it to you all. And we just hope you come and you receive the message from it and the hope. And it just lights up as a preview to your Christmas season.
Wonderful. Anyone else want to chime in? Reasons they should come? Ezry.
I do. Like, if you've ever lost someone or any of that, you might be thinking of like one side of the story. Oh, I lost someone. But you don't think of the other people it affects, like a ripple effect. Like in my last scene with my uncle, or not my last one,
Don't be spoiling it.
Yeah, I know. The one before that one, my character has to deal with loss, but it isn't only just me that it talks about my loss. It talks about my uncle's loss too, because we both had to affect with loss. So it's not just one side of it, it's both sides of like another family member's loss and my character's loss. It's just, so there's more than one side of it.
That's great to hear. Great to hear. And I'm thankful that you're touched by it that way too, just in acting out the show. And this is what I hope as people put this show on. This is our first time ever to do it, but I'd love other communities and other churches and other organizations throughout the world to do this show, because it sort of works its way in you. It gives you your own hope. It gives you a new perspective on things you're going through as well. So I'm excited to see it start here, but I can't wait to see it take off around the world. Other thoughts on why people should come?
Yeah. Staying in that same thought of perspective, if anyone is hesitating, like thinking, I don't want to be preached to, or I don't, it just kind of seems like a Christian thing. It's really not. There are notes about how much Nicholas loved Jesus and followed him so passionately. But like Ezry said, this is way deeper than simply loving God. It's how you can love your community and how you can impact and be an impact for your whole community, just by being loving to anyone who comes within your circle. So if you might not be a Christian or might not be completely on board, don't let that dissuade you from not coming to see this, because you'll be missing out on many great ideas about how to become a part of your community and be a positive change for your community.
I love that. And it's so true. It deals on all kinds of topics that everyone faces. And so I hope it gives you some good solutions to help you walk through it too. Denny?
Yeah. As far as just viewing the show, I think it's so exciting that you've made it available for, this isn't just something that, I have to drive to Streator, Illinois to watch it. I mean, you're able to purchase tickets to view this as a live stream. And I know you've probably alluded to that. It's been out there, but some people might not know. We have family in Michigan that some are coming down and some can't, but they've purchased tickets to watch via the live stream. So I think it's important to know that the process is relatively easy. Eric guides you through it and provides you with the link to be able to do that through YouTube, I believe, right? So hopefully people will, if they can't come and see it in person, will be able to connect and watch it that way as well, and which is exciting, because we may view it as this is just for our little town here of Streator and surrounding areas, but this is global, and we don't know how that it could get out there and impact people. And telling a story that I mean, I didn't know a whole lot about Nicholas's life, and so I've learned a lot, and it's inspired me to even look into it a little bit more. So hopefully this will help enlighten a lot of people. And I just think it's, I mean, there's a little bit of everything in this musical. There's some humor and some violence, and no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
and some love, connections. So I mean, it's there's something in it for everyone, and I know everybody will probably have moments of it that will stick closer to them than others, but it's good. It's a good, and especially for this time of year when we are gathered with family and focusing on one another and giving. So yeah.
Great. Thanks for that, Denny. And yes, you can watch it online for $10. You can gather as many people around one device as you want.
Yeah.
And we'll send you a YouTube link. If you can watch a YouTube video, you'll be able to watch this. And so I hope you do that. Or you can come in person. Tickets are reasonable, $10, $15, $20, depending on where you sit. We're selling fast. If you want to get in there, we'd love to have you jump in here. You can also buy tickets at the door, and there's a phone number on our website that you can call if you can't order online. But the website is hisnamewasnicholas.com. I'd love to have you come. Well, thank you all so much. I really appreciated having you and letting people hear your hearts. And we can't wait to see you at the show, either online or in person. And it's just a wonderful show, and it's packed with hope, packed with fun and laughter and tears, and help you process some of your own things that you may have gone through this year. So I hope you'll come. It's December 17th and 18th at 7 p.m. on Friday night, and then 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Saturday night. Tickets are available at hisnamewasnicholas.com. Everyone want to say a Merry Christmas? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you all for being my friends.